Logan Parker had built Summit Rentals from a modest regional outfit into one of California's most trusted names in car rental, but recent weeks had shaken his confidence. A string of troubling customer complaints had landed on his desk, three of them from the same location, Branch 12, just outside of Riverside. One driver reported brakes squealing the entire trip. Another said the interior smelled like mildew. The most recent email included photos of a cracked windshield and a dashboard coated in grime. Yet the branch's weekly performance reports all claimed operational excellence. Something wasn't adding up. Logan leaned back in his office chair, staring at the glowing screen. "If I can't trust what I'm being told," he muttered, "then I need to see it for myself." Determined to get the unfiltered truth, Logan devised a plan that went against every instinct of a modern CEO. He wouldn't announce a corporate visit or launch a formal investigation that might tip off the staff. Instead, he would go undercover. He dusted off an old resume, modified it with a fake name, Nick Harris, and worked with HR to get slotted in as a temp trainee. A set of thrift store khakis, a Summit Rentals cap pulled low, and a trimmed beard helped disguise his usual clean-cut executive look. Only the district manager knew of the plan and quietly arranged the paperwork. On a hot Monday morning, Logan showed up at Branch 12's back door with nothing but a duffel bag and a worn-out company vest. No one at the branch suspected a thing. The receptionist barely glanced up before handing him a clipboard. "Name?" she asked. Nick Logan replied in a steady tone. "You'll be shadowing Miles in the wash lot," she said. "Don't slow him down." There were no greetings, no onboarding video, no introduction to company values, just a wave in the general direction of the garage and a grunt from behind a half-finished coffee. When Logan finally met Tracy Miller, the branch manager, she didn't shake his hand. Mid-40s, clipped blonde hair, eyes like steel, and an expression carved from frustration, Tracy seemed more interested in numbers than names. She flipped through a stack of inventory sheets, gave him a once-over, and barked, "Grab a vest and get moving." What struck Logan immediately wasn't just the pace, it was the atmosphere. The employees looked worn-down eyes, hollow from long hours, and smiles non-existent. Miles, the technician he was paired with, was in his early 20s and looked like he hadn't slept in days. "You the new guy?" he asked Sweat, already soaking through his shirt. "Welcome to the furnace." Logan quickly found out what that meant. The lot shimmered in the midday heat, and they were tasked with vacuuming, wiping down and washing vehicles that rotated in like an assembly line. But the work wasn't what shocked him. It was the condition of the cars. One sedan reeked of mold. Another had a dashboard sticky to the touch. "Why are we even renting this?" Logan asked. Miles just shrugged. "Tracy says if it starts, it rents." That phrase hit Logan like a punch to the gut. This wasn't some corner lot car rental startup. This was Summit Rentals, the brand he had built on trust and safety. And here in Branch 12, cars with broken axles, busted air conditioning, and even signs of mold were being signed out like candy bars. Tracy didn't seem concerned. When Logan tried to raise the issue posing as a curious trainee, she dismissed him with a scoff. "Customers don't pay for luxury," she said. "They pay for wheels. If they want something better, they can upgrade. Otherwise, they take what's available." There was no mention of accountability, no concern for safety, just a relentless push to keep the numbers high and complaints low. By the end of the first day, Logan was more than just frustrated. He was heartbroken. This wasn't an isolated issue. The neglect was systemic, the staff demoralized, and the leadership blind to the damage. He watched a minivan with a cracked windshield get pushed through inspection. A compact car with steering issues was cleared with a single glance. No one spoke up. No one pushed back. And most damning of all, it was clear no one expected change. As Logan drove home in silence that night, his fake name badge tucked in the glove box, he realized something he hadn't felt in years, not disappointment, but responsibility. If Summit Rentals had fallen this far, then he hadn't just lost control of a branch, he had lost sight of his own company. By day, too, Logan Parker no longer needed reports or spreadsheets to confirm what was wrong. He could see it, smell it, and feel it with every passing hour. Assigned to the vehicle prep team again, he began inspecting cars as they came off the return lot. The first few were dusty but functional. Then came a blue sedan that reeked the moment its door opened. Logan gagged. The upholstery was soaked. The roof lining sagged, and there were black blotches creeping along the back seat. Mold. "You serious?" Miles muttered, shaking his head. "We logged this last week. Tracy said it's still rentable." Logan crouched to check the air vents, damp, grimy, and pulsing a sickly odor. "This isn't just gross," he said quietly. "It's dangerous." But when he brought it up to Tracy, she didn't flinch. "It starts, doesn't it?" she replied. "Then it rents." Logan stared at her, stunned. "It's full of mold," he insisted. "We have no budget to pull half the fleet," she snapped back. "Not unless you want to start turning people away and losing revenue. We're not a luxury service, we move cars. Period." It wasn't just the mold. Logan saw cracked windshields pass inspection seatbelts with frayed edges steering columns that vibrated under pressure. Still no action. The maintenance logs were a joke, half-filled checklists with no dates, no signatures, just enough to technically pass internal reviews. It was a house of cards built on excuses, and Tracy held it together with fear and indifference. Later that afternoon, a reservation came in for a mid-sized sedan, an older couple in their 70s, neatly dressed and visibly tired from travel. Logan watched as they checked in, the woman gently helping her husband sit, while Curtis prepared the paperwork. When Logan went to retrieve the assigned vehicle, he was hit by a wall of heat as soon as he opened the door. The air conditioner had been set to full blast, but only warm air poured out. Popping the hood, Logan spotted a cracked compressor hose, a common issue in high-mileage vehicles, but one that rendered the system useless. He rushed back inside. "Curtis," he said in a low voice, "that car's AC is busted. We can't give it to them." Curtis looked up. "It's the only midsize left. Everything else is reserved." "Then upgrade them," Logan pressed. "Give them a crossover." "Only Tracy can authorize that," Curtis replied. As if on cue, she emerged from the printer room. "Tracy," Logan called, keeping his tone measured. "We've got a situation. The only available car for an elderly couple has no working AC, and it's 96 degrees outside. Can we give them the next available class up?" "Without even turning," she responded. "No free upgrades. Policy." Logan's jaw tightened. They can't ride in that car. The man is sweating through his shirt. He looks pale. She finally turned, eyes narrowed. "You're the trainee. You don't make the calls." The tension thickened as Logan stood firm. "We're risking a customer's health over a $30 rate difference," he said flatly. "If they collapse in that car, we're liable." "You want that on your record?" Tracy stepped toward him, arms crossed. "You want to keep this job," she said. "Then stop overstepping." Logan didn't blink. "Then take it out of my paycheck. But I'm not handing those keys to that couple." He turned, walked to the wall, and grabbed the key to a clean, air-conditioned SUV. Tracy stormed after him, but he ignored her, opening the crossover and making sure the AC was running cold before helping the couple inside. They were too grateful to question the switch. Logan waved them off with a reassuring nod and turned back toward the office. His hands were shaking. Back inside, the silence was loud. Curtis avoided eye contact. Marcy watched from the corner, her expression unreadable. Tracy was fuming, pacing near the desk. Logan quietly resumed his duties, grabbing another clipboard, returning to the lot, and prepping a compact car with sticky seats and a missing mirror. That night, while standing by the vending machines, Marcy approached him. "That was brave," she said. "Not many would have pushed back." Logan sighed. It was just the right thing to do. She looked around, then leaned in. "She's been like this for months. People are scared. Most of us just stay quiet and survive." Logan nodded slowly, eyes still on the exit. The moldy cars, the ignored safety issues, the silence. It was no longer about fixing one branch. It was about protecting people who'd been ignored for far too long. By the middle of the week, Logan Parker had seen enough to realize that the issues at Summit Rentals, Branch 12, ran far deeper than faulty vehicles. While the physical signs of neglect were visible in every cracked dashboard and broken AC unit, it was the invisible weight on the employees' shoulders that told the real story. During a late trash run near the loading dock, Logan noticed two teenagers seated on overturned crates, quietly eating sandwiches from brown paper bags. Neither wore a name tag, and both looked exhausted. "You guys on break?" he asked gently. One of them nodded. "Kinda. We're not allowed to clock out unless it's over 15 minutes. Tracy says full lunch breaks are for full-timers only." Logan's stomach tightened. "How long have you been working?" "Since 10, one of them replied. It was nearly 6 p.m. Back inside, he stared at the weekly schedule taped to the break room wall. Glaring gaps stared back at him. No designated lunch slots, no meal breaks for part-time staff, and 3 unfilled positions forcing everyone to double up. And then there was the supply closet. Curtis quietly led Logan to a locked grey steel door at the end of a hallway, one he said hadn't been opened in months. When Logan pried it open, he froze. Shelves lined with untouched cleaning supplies, unopened air fresheners, oil filters, seat covers, brake pads, everything that could have helped prevent the complaints and customer refunds. "Tracy orders under budget and hoards them," Curtis said. "She says it reduces waste, but we all know what it really does." Logan nodded, eyes sweeping over the stacks. The issue wasn't scarcity, it was control. That evening, while wiping down key tags, Emily Reyes approached Logan. She was one of the youngest on the team, barely out of high school, but sharp, composed, and efficient. "You really stood up to her earlier," she said, referencing the moment he refused to hand an elderly couple a car with broken AC. "Most people wouldn't risk that." Logan looked at her. "Why not report it to HR?" She gave a bitter smile. "Because when you speak up here, your hours vanish. You stop getting shifts, or they move you to the worst slots." She hesitated, then added Ben Carter used to be assistant manager. Tracy demoted him when he refused to push upsells on elderly customers, said he wasn't aggressive enough. Now he just keeps his head down. Logan felt his jaw tighten. A culture like this didn't just survive, it infected. The breaking point came the next day. A family of 5 arrived for a pre-reserved 7-seater SUV. Logan was sent to retrieve the vehicle, but returned immediately holding the keys with a frown. The car's rear seatbelt was torn, the seats were sticky with melted candy, and the safety harness was missing from the 3rd row. When he told Tracy it wasn't safe for children, she exploded. "Tape it and move it," she snapped. Logan stared at her. "You want me to tape a seatbelt?" She didn't blink. "You're not in charge. That's my call." Logan turned and walked straight back inside. Finding Emily at the counter, he quietly asked her to offer the family a refund or delay. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "She'll lose it." Logan nodded. "I'll take the heat." And he did. Tracy stormed into the lobby minutes later, eyes blazing. "You went behind my back again." "That's it. You're done. Clock out. Leave your badge." Logan set his clipboard down calmly, then reached into his back pocket. He pulled out his real wallet and flipped it open, revealing a company ID with his full name and title, Logan Parker, Chief Executive Officer. The room went completely still. Curtis stood behind the desk, frozen. Emily's eyes widened. Even the 2 teenagers in the wash bay poked their heads in from the hallway. Tracy's mouth opened, but no sound came out. "You can't," she started. "I just did," Logan said evenly. "Effective immediately. You're relieved of all duties." He turned to Curtis. "You're the acting manager. We'll discuss a permanent structure soon." Without a word, Tracy turned and walked out. No defense, no apology, just silence. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Curtis stepped forward, his voice still shaking. She locked half the inventory room to the floor staff, said it was for her use only. Logan nodded. "That ends today." Emily slowly smiled, not out of satisfaction, but out of relief. like someone finally breathing after holding it in too long. Logan looked around the room at the stunned employees, still in their dusty uniforms, still holding clipboards, still wondering what came next. "I didn't come here looking to fire anyone," he said quietly, "but I won't let fear run this place any longer." Outside, the sun was beginning to set over Branch 12, but inside the light had just started to return. The day after Tracy's dismissal, Logan Parker arrived at Summit Rentals, Branch 12 before sunrise, still in the same dusty uniform he had worn while undercover. He didn't want to show up in a tailored suit or make a grand corporate speech. He wanted the team to see that real change didn't need polish, it needed commitment. Inside, Curtis was already reviewing maintenance logs, and Emily was wiping down the front counter. There was no small talk, just a cautious energy in the air, like a group unsure whether to hope again. Logan gathered the team near the service bay. "This place wasn't broken because of you," he told them. "It was broken because you were abandoned. That ends now." He then turned to Ben Carter, the quiet veteran of the branch who had endured Tracy's reign in silence. "Effective immediately, Ben's your interim manager." Ben froze. "Sir, Logan held up a hand. "You didn't need a title to lead. You've already been doing it. Now you'll have the authority to go with it." The rest of the team nodded subtly. No applause, just quiet approval. Logan continued outlining the new operating structure. Store hours would be reduced by 1 hour each day to allow time for proper shift rotations. No more double shifts, no more skipped lunches, no more last-minute closings disguised as overtime opportunities. He emphasized that full-timers and part-timers alike would receive equal protections, scheduled breaks, capped hours, and a formal reporting channel through HR. He wrote his direct email on the whiteboard. "No more whispers. If something's wrong, tell me. You will be heard." Logan then turned the conversation to what had been killing their reputation: fleet safety. As of today, he said, any car with unresolved issues is pulled from the rotation. "I'd rather issue refunds than rent a car with a failing seatbelt or mold in the vents." Ben nodded and immediately began assigning inspection teams. Emily and Curtis started sorting through maintenance tags, while 2 of the younger crew members marked problem vehicles with red tape. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was necessary. Within hours, over a dozen vehicles were lined up at the far end of the lot, unfit for circulation. "We're going to get a fleet inspection team out here by Friday," Logan promised. "They'll walk every row with us. No more guesswork." But the biggest revelation came from behind a locked door. With Curtis's help, Logan opened the long-sealed inventory room Tracy had kept manager only. What they found stunned everyone. Shelves upon shelves of brand-new parts, oil filters, wiper blades, upholstery kits, cleaning supplies, even spare compressors for broken AC units. It was enough to service half the vehicles on the lot. Supplies the team had been told were out of stock for months. "She had everything we needed right here," Emily whispered. Curtis nodded grimly. "She hoarded it to stay under budget. Told us using too much meant we were wasteful." Logan shook his head slowly. This wasn't budget control. This was sabotage by silence. As word spread, employees began sharing their own stories. One mechanic revealed he had been reprimanded for flagging a faulty engine mount. Another admitted she had stopped reporting safety concerns because they always disappeared. Logan didn't lecture them. He simply listened, notebook in hand, jotting down names, timelines, and promises to follow up. "Accountability isn't just for managers," he told them. "It's for the system, too. If the system failed you, we fix the system." He reached out to the district manager to initiate a full employment audit of Branch 12. HR was instructed to open anonymous reporting lines. He even called the regional safety officer himself and requested a physical walkthrough of the branch facilities. By the end of the day, Branch 12 didn't look dramatically different. The carpets were still stained, and the air still smelled faintly of old pine fresheners. But the people inside stood taller. Curtis no longer avoided eye contact. Ben walked the lot with purpose. The 2 high schoolers on the detail team actually laughed while restocking air fresheners. And Emily, once cautious and quiet, stepped into a visible leadership role, helping organize the fleet logs with color-coded precision. Logan watched all of it from the back corner of the lobby, not as a CEO checking boxes, but as someone witnessing the beginning of a cultural reset. This, he thought to himself, is what rebuilding from the inside out really looks like. On Thursday morning, Logan Parker stood in the staff room of Summit Rentals, Branch 12 still wearing his dusty uniform, shirt sleeves rolled up and eyes alert. The air conditioning hummed above him, not cold, but steady, functional. The team had gathered in a loose circle: Curtis, Ben, Emily, the two teens from the wash bay, and Jenna from the detail crew. There were no podiums, no PowerPoint slides, just a quiet space carved out for honesty. Logan spoke without theatrics. "This place used to be built on speed and silence," he said. "From today forward, we're building on trust and communication. You see something unsafe? Say it. Someone skips a break. Call it out. You have the right to be safe, respected, and heard." The team listened closely, some nodding, others still absorbing. Logan looked at Emily. "Step forward," he said. She blinked, unsure, but obeyed. "You've got instincts. You stepped up when things were tense, and you never lost focus. As of today, you're our new team lead." A small gasp came from one of the younger workers. Emily covered her mouth with her hand, then lowered it and whispered, "Thank you." Logan nodded. "You've earned this. We'll make sure your hours are consistent, your responsibilities are clear, and if you're studying, we'll work around that." Nearby, Curtis smiled, and Ben clapped softly. For the first time in days, there was a sense of quiet joy in the room. Then Logan turned to Jenna Morris, who stood near the back, one hand resting lightly on the table. She had a limp from an old injury, something Tracy had once called a liability to the brand. Jenna avoided eye contact, but Logan walked toward her gently. "You're not a liability," he said. "You're part of this team. If you need modified duties, speak to Ben or me directly. You will never be pushed aside again because of something you can't control." Jenna's lips trembled as she nodded. "Thank you," she said softly, eyes damp. Logan continued, "This is a workplace, not a battlefield. If you've been mistreated, it ends here." As the conversation settled, two safety inspectors arrived at the lot with clipboards and high-visibility vests. Logan personally walked them through the flagged vehicles, pointing out each fault with transparency. Curtis had laid out every incomplete maintenance log, and Ben had organized fleet tags by condition status. By noon, 28% of the branch's cars were officially pulled from rotation. But there was no panic, just progress. 6 replacement units were already scheduled for delivery by Monday, and the team was focused on cleaning, organizing, and preparing for what was ahead. It wasn't about perfection anymore, it was about integrity. Back in the lobby, Emily, now in a crisp new polo shirt with Team Lead on her badge, adjusted the reservation board with color-coded markers. "Helps with rush hours," she told Logan. "Less confusion, less pressure." He smiled. Good thinking. Across the room, Jenna restocked microfiber towels, and the teens helped clean out the detail room music, playing faintly from a Bluetooth speaker someone had brought from home. Logan stepped outside and looked across the lot. There were fewer cars now, fewer customers, but the ones that remained were clean, safe, and ready. And more importantly, so were the people behind the desk. As the sun dipped behind the building, Logan returned to the staff room one last time. "I'm not going to give a big speech," he said. "This week spoke louder than I ever could. But I will say, this don't wait for corporate to fix everything. Fix what you can where you are with who you've got. That's leadership." One of the teens raised his hand. "Are we still allowed to work weekends?" Logan grinned. "Yes, but no more than 6 hours per shift. And only if your parents sign off." The group chuckled. Then Emily asked the final question of the day. "What made you do all this?" Logan paused. "Because I once rented a car that broke down on a freeway," he said. "No apology, no help, just legal disclaimers. I thought I can do better. And I still believe that." As he looked around at the rebuilt team, the unlocked supply rooms, the freshly tagged vehicles, he knew Summit Rentals, Branch 12, was no longer broken. It was becoming what it was always meant to be. If this story moved, you don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Deep Inside HQ, where we bring you real stories of courage, leadership, and the quiet heroes who change the world from the inside out. Every episode reveals the human truth behind power, the choices that shape companies, and the people who refuse to stay silent. Tap the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And remember, true change starts when someone dares to care.